I bought a van. This is a medium wheelbase, high top, 2012 VW Crafter, and I'm going to be spending the next several months converting this into a log cabin style camper van.
Welcome back. Hello. Where have I been? What am I doing today? I will answer these questions. Basically, life, I haven't been able to get onto the van really, but we're here and we're doing it now. I was, though, in the last month able to take this out for its first run. A friend's stag do in the New Forest. Didn't film it, didn't feel right filming a friend's stag do. We were there to have fun. But the van made it, which is lucky, because if you didn't know already, I've been having starting issues. We think it's because the ignition barrel is faulty. I can literally take the key out of the ignition and it continues to run, which is not good. But we think it's not shutting off the immobilizer, because sometimes it will start perfectly, or it will just not start, like it's an empty engine, and the immobilizer shuts off the fuel, doesn't it? But that's all booked in for repair. Let's get straight to it. What am I doing today? Well, I'm installing the roof fan and the window when it arrives, and I'm not making it up. It's just turned up. 1 second. Couldn't have planned that better. Literally just arrived. Anyway, yes, I'm doing the roof fan and I'm doing the window and the sliding door so that I get a bit of light in, and so that I've got airflow, which I'll explain especially why is important in a little while, because I've got some funny stories. But first of all, let's open up this window and see what condition it's in, because guess who delivered it? Every. And if you live in the UK, you know exactly what I mean. Sometimes they're lovely. Sometimes your parcel ends up in a bush down the road in 10 pieces. So, and this box does look quite beaten up, but the lady seemed nice. So here we go. And you will not believe how much this cost when I get this out. Because if you know anything about camper vans, windows are bloody expensive. That is not a bad sized window. And it's almost like the safari style window, where it opens like that. And it's got the built-in blind and fly screen on the back. This was £99 plus £30 shipping. I know, it's like 400mm by 600mm or something. Every other one I was seeing was 4 times the price for that. Just going to show you. It's going to go about there ish. I'm going to center it obviously and get it level. And yes, I'm doing it myself. It seems to be one of those jobs that a lot of people are too scared to do, which you can't blame them for being scared of doing, because it's a very hard job to do. And most people, when they do it the first time, they get a leak. But I've done everything else myself, and I'm going to continue to do so. I did the solar. This can't be harder, surely. Famous last words. But look, this is pretty cool, because I can either have it open, fly screen, or blinds. But the first job is basically to mark up on the inside. This is where the roof fan's going to go. I've left a nice square for it. It does fit. I've already checked. But I need to basically mark the square that I've got to cut out from in here, and then drill each corner from the inside, so that when I go onto the roof to cut the square out, I can draw the square again using the corners I've drilled and then cut it there. I need to make sure that this is almost perfect. I'm assuming I can be a couple of millimeter off tops, but I'd rather not. If I cut this too big, I'm kind of screwed. I'd rather it was too small than too big. Stop it. But obviously you can take more off, but you can't add it back on. We found our center point, and it may look like it's not exactly in the center of this circle, and it's not, because this circle is not actually in the center of these two struts. It's ever so slightly off. There we go. The dots are ever so slightly in because of obviously where I drew around the cardboard. Ended up being 39 centimeters. I'm just going for it, I'll be honest with you. So after some faffing and trying to be clever and doing it without a template, I've just made a bloody template. It was just stressing me out. And to be fair, even that was stressing me out because I couldn't find scissors. But I have a square that is exactly 38.5 centimeters squared. If I was using a jigsaw to cut this out, I'd probably use a bigger drill bit so I could get the blade in the hole to start, right? But I'm just doing this to mark where the square is going to be. So it doesn't matter. First hole, no going back. Right, I'm going to attempt to drill this one and hold the camera at the same time. So wish me luck. There we go. There we go. 4 holes in my roof. Scary, I know. Now I need to get on the top and basically draw a square from corner to corner. Action shot. Not the best view though, I am sorry. Hello. There we go. I have my square cut out and it looks pretty straight and even. I guess we will find out. Again, I have a little leeway, but I'd rather get it pretty good. Also realised, look at the state of that. I need to clean my solar panel, but that's for another day. Also, a quick one before I forget. I'm going to have to get my dad be on standby with the fire extinguisher, purely because I've already done a lot of the interior. I don't want any of the sparks to go in and set any of it alight. So I've already taken my curtains out just to be safe, but I've still got my bedding at the other end of the van. My dad is on standby over there. All sorted. Well, there we go. Not the straightest line. Actually, no, that's the worst one. But the others are pretty good. And that was the first one. So we improved. Those clouds are looking worrying because we did have some unexpected rain yesterday. So I'd better get on with it. So I've got the fan up here. Let's see if it's going to fit. Oh, yes. And there's a bit of play, but it's fine. There's still plenty of overlap on the outside for me to be able to seal and screw into the roof. So first off, I've got to round off all these sharp edges. Can't find the file, so I'm using this sharpening stone. I'm sure it'll be all right. We'll find out. I didn't film anymore. I spared you the horror of the noise. I'm having a bit of a nightmare at the moment. Can't find a paintbrush, so I'm going to use this because I've just got to literally dab it on the edges. And I couldn't find the mastic gun, you know, the sealant gun, so that I can seal this up. I broke mine, so I bought a new one, and I couldn't find it. But luckily, my other neighbour, John, I've got 2 neighbours called John either side, helped me out. Hello again. You'll notice that I've actually got grey sealant. That's because I was given it for free, and it doesn't matter. You're not going to see it up here anyway, are you? It's not what I've used before, but my friend Anthony gave me a couple of these, and he said it's really good, so we'll give it a go. It's getting screwed into the roof anyway. It just needs to be watertight, to be honest. And I am going to probably go way overboard with the sealant, but probably better to do that than not use enough. So let's get going. I've obviously cleaned the surface before anyone says. And I said I was going to go overboard, and I am, because I'm going to do 2 beads of it next to each other, parallel. And then probably 2 beads on the plastic. I mean, why not? Well, there you go. I've pretty much just used the whole tube around that, and now I'm going to use another whole tube around this. When I said I'm going to overdo it, I meant it. We are going sealant crazy. Trying to go over the holes as well, so that when I screw into the metal of the van, that I'm screwing through sealant, so it should be a nice watertight seal even where I screw into the van. So there we are. Surely that's enough. Surely that's enough. Now I just need to make sure I put this in the right way around. I overthought it a little bit, to be honest, but I need the hinges this side so that when I drive, it doesn't get ripped open by the wind. Right, well, just make sure I get this the right bloody way around. And here we go. Well, that was nice and squidgy when it went in, which is a good sign, isn't it? Now I just want to get it nice and squidged all the way around. Well, I've got even more sealant that I've got to try and smooth out along here. Look, the state of it. But hey, you can't say this wasn't sealed. Well, there we go. It's sealed, and I've even put sealant over each one of the screws, just in case. I literally could not have sealed that more thoroughly, to the point it's actually a bit messy, but whatever. Again, no one's going to see it. There you go. It looks a bit better with that off. And yeah, probably one of the more messy jobs you're going to see on YouTube, but I bet this is one of the ones that's not going to leak though, because if you follow me down here, I put so much sealant on that it squeezed out underneath, and I've even smoothed it off along here. Mate, this is double sealed, I'm telling you. Found a bit of a problem though. Obviously, I was intending on making this wooden frame. I think I was supposed to screw those screws into this wooden frame, and I didn't. It's not going anywhere. So I might just, I'm going to think of something, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think what I'm going to do is, because I'll be honest, I don't like this crappy plastic trim that's supposed to go on it. It just looks a bit tacky, and it doesn't exactly fit with the van, because that's literally the trim. Like, that's supposed to be what goes on, and that's what you see when it's finished. Doesn't really fit, does it? So I think I'm going to try and make my own one. I don't need it to secure this at all. This has got like 10 screws into the metal, as well as the sealant / adhesive. It's not going anywhere. I will make a better one out of wood, I think. But while I think of that, I think I'm going to get this wired up. Your standard 12-volt cable that everyone uses. I've used it on everything else. Just need to take some of these panels off so that I can run the cable along, down the back and under the bed to the fuse box with all the electrics, so that I can run this off of my solar. Sorry, the lighting's probably not great now, but I can't help it getting dark, and depending on where I put the camera to the lights, it goes a bit funny. it's moments like this you realise one of the other benefits of using paneling like this instead of one big piece is that I don't have to take the entire roof down just to run a couple wires. I can just remove a few of these slats and there you go. I mean, it is a little bit fiddly, but it's still better than taking the whole roof down. So I've ran enough towards the battery with enough slack that I can comfortably wire it into the fuse box. And then now I just basically need to connect these two here. And then this will be up here, hidden behind whatever I decide to build to house this in. So yeah, I just want to make sure I've got a bit of slack. I don't want it to be, it's going to be hard to connect otherwise. So I'll give myself a bit extra so I can comfortably connect. And these are my fancy wire cutters. If you're new to the channel, I never have the right tool and I just make do. And I've done all right so far doing that. So right, it's the next day now. It just got too late basically. I just needed to eat dinner. New day, new stupid shirt. But what I'm actually going to do is, instead of finishing the fan first, I'll do the wiring after I do the window, because while we have daylight and no rain, I just want to get this in. So the first job is to basically mark out where I'm going to put the window. Now I will actually do that on the outside because it's more important that it looks centered on the outside of the van than on the inside, and they don't quite match up. So if I was to do it on the inside, it would be slightly off outside the van. But what I do need to do first is cut these support struts off. Basically, I need to cut through them anyway to make the hole, and it'll be easier to get them out of the way first so I can do a nice straight cut on the outside of the van. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I've got a funny story I was going to tell you. Well, I took this out for its first run on my mate's stag do, yeah? Well, it was risky, obviously, because of the starting issues, but I managed to get it going, and I got it all the way to the New Forest. And as I'm pulling up to the campsite, I'm buzzing. I'm like, yes, come on, success. Well, I get to the reception, and the first thing they say to me, they go, "Are you sleeping in that tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they go, "Has it got ventilation?" And I'm like, "Well, no, not yet. It's still in conversion. I ain't finished it yet." And they go, "Well, we can't let you sleep in it then." Oh, my heart sank. I thought, I was polite, but I had a bit of back and forth with them. Obviously, I'm come all this way. And basically, there's something to the effect, people just keep sticking mattresses in the back of vans and staying in campsites. And I'm assuming it's to do with carbon monoxide poisoning or something. If you've got a gas cooker in here or your diesel heater and it malfunctions, if you haven't got ventilation, you'll be in trouble. But I ain't got any of that yet because my van ain't finished. That's why I ain't got the ventilation. You see what I'm saying? Make it make sense. But obviously it's their campsite, it's their rules. But luckily I had, in a rush, just chucked all my camping stuff in the back, including my tent. So I said, well, I've got my tent on me. I'll sleep in my tent next to the van if you like. And they looked at me a bit suspicious. And they were like, well, if you promise you'll sleep in your tent. And I was like, I promise. They're like, we will check up on you. We promise, we will check up. And I was like, all right, yeah, all right, I'll sleep in my tent. Anyway, I checked in and I went off to go and meet the boys at the other end of the campsite. And I parked up and I sat in my chair just for a minute, and I had a think. I thought, this is a massive campsite here. They don't even know where I've parked. And granted, I've got to put like a name tag on the van and on the tent. All right. But what, they're going to knock in my van in the middle of the night? And I'm going to answer, am I? No, I'll keep quiet and pretend I'm not in here. And also, what, they're going to go and unzip my tent and make sure I'm in the tent? No, they can't do that either, can they? Come on. So what do you think I did? Did I sleep in my tent? What the hell did I sleep in my tent? I slept in my van, and oh my god, I didn't get carbon monoxide poisoning. Strange that, isn't it? Because I ain't got nothing in here that produces it. And I know there's going to be some Karens on here going, shouldn't have done that. The rules are rules. You give us campers a bad name. Give it a rest. Give it a rest, love. But yeah, I thought that was funny. But that's why this job has been the ventilation and the window, just so I don't have to go through that again. Now, again, because I do have some fabric in the van, I've got a fire extinguisher ready, just in case, because I say safety first. I don't have goggles, but I'd rather not set the van on fire. There we go. Now, quickly, a problem I do have is that this doesn't have any instructions with it, and that was the negative part of the reviews on this. Even though they said it was good, and it seems good, there's literally no instructions at all. So you've kind of just got to figure it out yourself. So I've started measuring, but luckily I double checked before I started getting carried away, because I've made a mistake. I measured the middle from this groove to the edge of the door here. For some reason I thought that was right, and then as I've started measuring and marking out the square, it started to look off, when actually I should have measured from the edge of the door to the edge of the door, which seems obvious now. And my neighbour come out and I asked him, and he agreed. So there, the smaller cross is the actual centre of the door. So now obviously it's 600 that way, so I've just got to measure 300 to the left and then 300 to the right from the centre. To try and make sure that it's level, I've been measuring from here, obviously, because that's nice and straight and level. So I've worked out, well, obviously when I've measured from here to here, when I've done, what was it, half of 450, which is 225, I've come to here. So then I've measured whatever that gap is, and then I'm just doing the same there and the same there. So obviously I've figured out that from here to there is 455. So I've just got to do 455 further up. And then when I connect the lines, I should have a nice straight level side to this square that I'm drawing. This marker's seen better days as well. There we go. Looks pretty bang on straight. I'm just going to go around with the tape measure and just randomly measure points to make sure that they are all even and the right size. I think I'm going to do it with the door open so that the sparks are just going against the outside of the van and not into the van. And I know that some of you were screaming at me to wear eye protection. Up to this point in the video, I found some. So to keep you quiet, I've put it on. Whoa, that was scary, but we've done it. I now just need to measure it and make sure that I've actually cut it to the right size. So I've rounded off the edges. Now before I bother painting it and everything else, I'm just going to see that it fits. I'm hopeful. Mate, literally, I don't know if you can see, the tiniest amount of wiggle room, like 3 mil, 2 mil, nothing. That's perfect. I'm quite chuffed for that, and it looks pretty straight. And now I'm going to run a bead along here, basically. Moment of truth. Right, we just had some absolute drama. Basically, it all went wrong. I said there was no instructions. There was also a lot of other things missing, like decent screws. Basically, I had a limited amount of time to screw this on and pull it, pull it all nice and tight into the wall of the van before the sealant starts to go off. And the screws they gave were awful. I stripped the head. I even snapped one in there, and then the only other metal screws I had were not as long, so they weren't reaching the other piece of metal on the other side. So I had to quickly run around and bodge. I've just grabbed this pallet wood because that was the only thing thinner that I had, and just about managed to get it in, even though I haven't managed to put a screw in every single hole. And then, of course, the sealant had bloody gone off, hadn't it, on the other side, and it was an absolute mess. Like, I didn't film anything because I was really losing my temper, and I had plans, and I missed those plans because I had to sort that. But my dad came to the rescue with some white spirit, and we managed to just about clean it up. And there it is. And you're all probably wondering, what's the problem, Craig? It looks fine. Yeah, it does now. After about an hour of trying to get the sealant off, because I'm telling you now, it was all the way out here, smeared everywhere, like the roof is with the fan. But it was all over this. It was even on the. Honestly, I can't believe how bad it got. Now, which is laughable that I would call an easy job, given I was worried about the electrics earlier in the build. I've just got to wire up this fan, so I've got to crimp on some connectors and insulate them. Just a challenge fitting it in the hole. Stop it. No, it's just as simple as connecting the black to the black and the red to the red. There you go, that's the positive connected. That's the negative connected. And as you can see, the light next to the fuse for this input is lit up. Basically means it's connected, but I've not put a fuse in yet. How do we figure out what size fuse to use? Well, you look at the technical specifications and it will tell you the power, usually in watts. This is between 3 and 32 watts. Well, you're thinking, well, how do I figure it out then? Because these fuses are rated in amps. Well, watts is just volts times by amps. And we know that it's 12 volts because that's what my system is. It's a 12 volt system. So we just have to divide the watts by 12 volts, which gives us like 2 point something, right? So basically you use the next size up, and that would be a 5 amp fuse. And now we just basically pop the fuse in the right slot. So let's have a go. Air out. Oh, come on. We needed that. We needed a win today. I know that I've technically got the window in, but oh, that was so stressful, and it's still not perfect to have something actually work. I mean, I just plugged it in. I don't know why I'm getting so excited, but we have ventilation now. I can also open the lid. Don't know if you can see that. I might have to do it outside. Close. Whoa. So yeah, now I have some airflow, and I can genuinely feel the air being pulled in from the window ever so slightly. Oh, so I'm back again. Basically, I needed to walk away from it again, but I figured out what went wrong with the window. I thought I'd got it in and it was all cushy, but then this wouldn't fit on. It just didn't make sense. No matter what I did, nothing would go. But it turns out I put this bit on backwards. I put it on like this, where the flat bit is into the door of the van, where I needed to do it this way around. Then obviously now there's a cavity in here where the wood was supposed to go and get pinned into the van. And then now you have a nice flat surface to put the fly screen and blind frame thing. But I've waited a couple of days for the sealant to go off so that it was safe for me to take this off without it coming out. I've started making a nice wooden frame for it. Yes, the wood's a bit big, but it's kind of all I had, and I would like it to kind of almost be like a feature in the van. So this might be a blessing in disguise that this happened, because I'm actually going to do a bit more of an elaborate frame around this than I would have done originally. So that's supposed to go on there, and this bit literally slots in, and then when you screw this middle bit into the window, it pins this wooden frame in, and it also pulls the window into the van, keeping it all nice and tight. And that's pretty much what it will look like, something like that. Now the problem here is, because I've obviously already drilled it, not actually twice I've already drilled it, the pilot holes are no good. They just won't hold. So I'm just having to use some self-tapping screws. That's not one. Some self-tapping screws, and basically make my own holes. But luckily this is just aluminium, so it's a lot softer than steel to get in. You know, so it's obviously easier to get it in. I'm pretty chuffed, because I've basically, I've been stressing over this for the last few days, and I've figured out what I've done wrong, albeit something very stupid. I've been a bit of an idiot, but I am just relieved that I'm on the right track now. So it's bloody, I think it's Flying Ant Day. You know, that day of the year where all the flying ants come out. They're bloody everywhere. Right, yes, there's no bit of wood here at the moment, but allow it, trust me, it's still pulling it in. I'm just going to stain this first before I put that on, because I would actually I would like to have this visible, and maybe decorate this at some point, have it a bit of a feature, like I said. There we go. That looks a lot better, doesn't it? Now I can screw on this bit. The problem I had before is these holes that I had here to screw this on were basically screwing into thin air. But now I've actually got the wooden frame on properly, there is somewhere for me to screw into. Right, now I've got to try and get it on straight. Basically. See, it moves. Then you go to screw. Is that even? It's not bad for first go. No, mate, that is pretty much bang on, to be fair. I'm happy with that. And then hopefully, come on, look at that. Some of you's going to say you're supposed to pull blinds down. Doesn't really matter, does it? They both do the job. I've got my fly screen and I've got my blinds. Or just open. Now I've just got to clip these back on. There we go. Finally, all sorted. Obviously I need to finish the rest of the door, so I'm probably going to insulate these cavities a little bit and then put some plywood over it and make it look all nice, because that's kind of the last main bit really, obviously, apart from these little parts around the edges here, which I've still undecided how I'm going to sort them. And obviously the floor, but as I have said in previous videos, that's getting done last because I don't want to make a mess of it. Now we need to frame this in, and I've been trying all these complicated ideas in my head, and I think I've actually just found the easiest possible solution, because obviously this is not all exactly the same all the way around, so it was going to be quite hard to make a frame and it fit perfectly. But I may literally, I can put it, slot this in here and angle it up and do this on both sides. So what I've done so far is I've just used a screw here to sort of hold it up. I probably won't leave that there. Just to hold it in place for now. Oh, press the button. And do the same on this side. Then I'll be able to put a piece underneath it like that. So now I'm kind of playing some sort of Tetris thing here to get it all to fit. And I still don't know. I mean, I think it will look good, but it could go all horribly wrong. Obviously. Like that. Yeah. So there we go. That's basically what I had in mind. It's just these bits of metal you can see there and there. So I may add just one more bit across somehow. Right, so obviously you can see this bit of metal left. So I'll just put this bit of batten here. I'll stain it first and just put that on there. And it's a very random sort of pattern I've made, but it's symmetrical. And I think it suits the van. So it's the next day. It got too dark to really show you what I'd done, so I've waited until daylight so I can show you without the glare of the lights. But I think that looks all right, to be fair. It's quite tidy. Doesn't look like it shouldn't be there. Yeah. I've also acquired a memory foam mattress. Basically, again, from my work, one of the girls got a brand new mattress and they were getting rid of this memory foam one, which is actually still in pretty good condition. So I took it. All I've had to do, as you can see there, is cut it to size. And I've saved myself quite a few £100, because if anyone knows anything about mattresses for camper vans, custom ones are very expensive. Oh, finished. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out, and eventually how the window turned out. All pretty much using scrap wood as well, or just bits I had lying around left from previous jobs, so not bad. But what next? Well, actually, next week I'm heading up to Scotland. My friend whose stag that was, he's getting married in Scotland, and we're going to make the most of the trip. And me and Jazz are going to head up to Ben Nevis afterwards and meet my gym friends, and we're going to do Ben Nevis and make it almost like a week in Scotland. And I hope that I can take the van, because this is going into the garage tomorrow. Wish me luck. And the ignition barrel's getting replaced, as well as a couple of other bits, but hopefully it gets sorted and we can go in this. Otherwise we've got to go in the car and sleep in the tent for Ben Nevis, which we don't want to do. We want to take the van, don't we? And what's next? Not sure. Probably most of the interior stuff. Anything that's visible white metal on the inside of the van, I want sorting. Obviously the wood burning stove, but that can wait until winter. And then the floor. And then we're most of the way there, really. We really are. Not long now. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, see you later.